Can I retire at 60 years old with $225,000 saved for retirement? That's what we're going to talk about on the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel. We're going to look at a 60-year-old from Georgia with $225,000 saved in multiple retirement investing accounts. And they are asking, hey, Drew, can I retire? Will my retirement income last throughout my retirement? And if I can't retire now, when can I retire? We're going to look at claiming Social Security. We're going to look at the withdrawal rates on the $225,000 saved for retirement. And we're going to look at making sure they can get to retirement, through retirement, and protect their ability to stay in retirement. So let's look at this right now. So we have John. John is an electrician and he makes $7,000 a month currently. So he's still working. He's making about $84,000 a year. Now his salary does increase by about 1% per year. So that's something we're going to factor in. If he can't retire now, if he continues to work, what's his salary going to increase to each year that he continues to work? Meaning how much can he put away each year in his retirement investing accounts. Now we're showing a projected retirement date of next year. So January of 2024, he's still 60 years old. That's when we're looking at a projected retirement date, all right? Now his Social Security at 62 would be $1,750. Now the reason we're looking at taking Social Security early is because John's retirement assets are at $225,000. For him to go from 60 to 67 with the amount of money he needs for expenses would bring those retirement investing accounts down a lot faster in the sense of depreciation and withdrawal than I want. So we might have to start Social Security early to help plug the bleeding when it comes to the money coming out of his retirement investing accounts. Now, if the market has a couple good years, obviously we can delay Social Security each year. Now, if he takes it at 62, he's only going to get 70% of his full retirement benefit. Now, he can claim Social Security at 63, 64, 65, 66. Now, his full retirement age is 67, which is 100% of his full retirement benefit, or he can wait 68, 69, 70. If you get to 70, you get 124% of your full retirement benefit. It's an 8% compound, 67, 68, 69, 70. So that's great. Now, what we can look at is saying, okay, John, if we take it 62, you're going to get $1,750. But what if you take it 63, 64, 65, 66? Here are those increasing values. And does it make sense? His full retirement age is $2,500 per month in Social Security. There is a projected COLA increase of 2.58% on Social Security. That's just the average since 1973 when they started calculating CPI-N with Social Security. Now, if we look at his assets, we've got money in a SEP IRA at TD Ameritrade of $175,000. Now, he is putting $1,000 in per month. He's got a TD Ameritrade Freedom Fund of $25,000. He's putting in $500 a month. Now, a Freedom Fund is the ability to use an account without having to worry about what the IRS says, about any kind of limitations on when you can pull the money out. That's what I like to call a Freedom Fund. In John's case, it's an individual taxable brokerage account. And I highly recommend you investing in a brokerage account, whether it's a joint account if you're married, whether it's an individual account if you're single. Obviously, put money into your 401k, get the match that the company's giving you. But if you have extra income, if you have extra money, put that into a taxable brokerage account, build that up, especially if you're thinking about retiring under the age of 59 and a half, because now you have a bucket of money to help get you past age 59 and a half to Social Security or bridge you to whatever age you want, and the tax ramifications are going to be more efficient or better for you than if you're pulling money out of an IRA, a 401k, or a 403b. Now, John also has money in the bank of $25,000. Now, his primary residence is worth $375,000. He has no debt, so this is a paid off home. He's lived there for a long time. He's paid it off. And so that is a non-liquid asset that we can look at in the future if needed. So let's look at this. Here's what we've got. We've got $225,000 saved for retirement at 60. Now, out of that, 77% of that, or almost 78%, is qualified, meaning it's money, when that money comes out, it's taxable right away. So we have to look at, what about Roth conversions? What about some specific tax planning? And that's something down the road for John. We've really got to answer, can I retire, and how long will my retirement income last? Those are the big questions. The tax planning, the Roth conversions, the withdrawal strategy, because of the taxability of the accounts, that stuff needs to wait until we answer those two main questions. Now, the portfolio weighted average, we're going to give a 5.44% rate of return for the money that's invested in the market, meaning these accounts, the SEP IRA and this brokerage account, are invested at TD Ameritrade. We manage those accounts for John. We're as a registered investment advisory firm, so we are investing that for him, and we're going to project a 5.44% rate of return. If it's better than that, we're going to high five and we're going to chest bump at the end of the year. But we want to be more conservative in our projections. Now, you might be saying, hey, Drew, $200,000 or $225,000 in retirement savings seems pretty low for someone who's 60. Let me show you this. What is the average retirement savings for someone ages 55 to 64? The average household retirement savings is $408,420. That's the average. The average is skewed because you have a lot of high numbers up top, you got a lot of low numbers at the bottom. That skews the averages. The median is a better example of what average savings are. The median household retirement savings at age 60, between ages 55 and 64, is $134,000. Now, this is according to the Federal Reserve's 2019 survey. So when we're looking at $225,000, we're actually above the median, but we're below the average. All right? Now, let's keep going through this. From an expense standpoint, if John were to retire today, his expenses are $3,000 a month. Let me show you how this is broken down. We've got baseline expenses of $2,500. Baseline meaning food, utilities, everything that he needs to live day to day, $2,500 per month, and we do have inflation of 3.27% on that. Now, his fund budget is $500. But here's what's going to be the kicker on this. His fund budget is going to end in the year 2043. Now, we're still putting inflation on it, so that $500 is going to grow by 3.27%. Every year, it's $6,000 a year. In fund money, it's going to grow by 3% every year, but it's going to end. Because once John gets to 80, he's probably not going to be spending $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year on travel or fun or cruises, or he likes to hunt and fish. So it's something that we've really got to look at. It's different from an Excel spreadsheet where you just pull down the numbers and say, okay, this is what I'm going to need till I get to 100. We really want to know, when are these expenses going to end? What are the inflation numbers on these expenses? Now, for John, we don't have a mortgage, so all of his expenses have inflation on them, meaning they're going to rise as inflation rises. But let's say you had a mortgage down here. If you had a mortgage on your expenses, and let's just do this as an easy example for you. If you had a mortgage, and let's say that was a $2,000 mortgage, well, it doesn't have 3.27% inflation, right? It's fixed. Your mortgage is fixed. So it has zero inflation. And it's going to end. So let's say it ends at the same time, just for kicks and giggles for this video. So what we can see here, his expenses are $5,000 a month. These are putting a mortgage in there, which he doesn't have. But look at the inflation rate. It's 1.96%. So when you're calculating your expenses, you've got to make sure you understand variable or expenses that are going to go up with inflation versus expenses that are fixed, meaning there's no inflation. Because those two types of expenses need to be handled differently when we're doing a retirement distribution out of our retirement investing accounts, okay? So let's take the mortgage out of here. Now, so our expenses are, let's update this, let's save it. Okay, so let's go to cash flows. So John has told me he is an electrician. he can work part-time. So we're going to throw some part-time work in here of $1,000 a month, and we're going to do that for 20 years as well. So he's going to assume he's going to make about $12,000 a year working part-time. Now, if you want to retire and you don't feel like you've saved enough, or we do an EKG and I say, hey, John, you have not saved enough to retire at a certain age, working part-time is a viable solution. Now, he has a trade. He can go and be an electrician for part-time. He has his own business, so he can continue to do that. So we need to look at your strategy and say, well, maybe you don't want to continue doing what you were doing, but can you work part-time somewhere else, making an extra $500 to $1,000 a month to help you retire? And a lot of people leave in the comment sections, they say, Drew, that's ridiculous. When I retire, I want to retire. But what if you don't like your job? What if your job stresses you out? What if your job is causing you to wake up early and go to bed late and you just want to quit, but you know you need some extra income? Working part-time is a viable solution. Maybe that brings your stress level down. Hey guys, listen, stress kills more people than smoking. And so if you can eliminate some stress, maybe you can retire a little earlier than you want and live a little bit longer and enjoy it. So we go to taxes. So currently for the year 2023, John's tax rate is 12.8%. If we go to 2024, it's going to drop even lower than that because we're retiring and now we're just using our investments for retirement income. So in reality, his projected federal rate is not something we're totally concerned about at this point. When taxes go up, it's something we will discuss, but at this point, it's not something we are overly concerned about. Now, we go to 1 year, and so at retirement, if we go a year from now, he's got $225,000 now. If we go another few months, we get to January, he should have about $245,000 when he retires. Okay, just based on a few months of contributions and market gains. So we go to retirement. Let's see how long this is going to last. Well, you can already see it kind of up here. He's going to be out at 84. Let's go through the details. So here we go. 62 is when Social Security kicks on. Here's that monthly cash flow for part-time work. Now there's no COLA increase on that. Obviously we can increase that with some COLA. We're just being very conservative in our projections. Here is our net monthly income after taxes. So we've gotten this. This is our part-time work. There's the taxes being taken out of it. Here's our monthly expenses with inflation, which means we need $2,192 the first year off of our investments to live. Let me show you what that looks like. So you can see there's the money we need to take off our investments. It does have a COLA increase on it. So we're trying to be as detailed as we possibly can. Listen, stepping into retirement is not something you want to have to back out on, right? It's a big decision. We only want to do it once. And here at your Financial EKG, we want to help protect your ability to stay in retirement, right? Stay. So we've got to look at this in a detailed way. Now listen, if you want a Financial EKG, in the description below, you can get in touch with us, find out what it costs to work with us and all that good stuff. Would love to help you in your retirement. Now, here's Social Security kicking on. You can see the COLA increases on Social Security, and you can see at 84, here's our Social Security income, $3,065, so it's grown. There's our expenses. They've grown as well, $5,514, but here's what I want you to notice. Go up to 80, it was $4,848, but the year before it was $5,634. Remember, we kicked out the fund money, which was about what, $700, $800 right there. So that kicked out at 80. So we dropped our expenses. Remember, we want to calculate all this, and we get to 84. Now he does have a house worth $480,000 at 84, so he could do a reverse mortgage. He could sell the house, move into a different location. So these are some things that we talk about, and I say, hey John, how do you feel about this? Does this make you feel comfortable? What do we need to do? And a lot of times the response is, Drew, what do we need to do so that I can retire? Now, I live in Tampa. I'm about an hour and a half from Disney World. I can drive over there. I can get you some pixie dust. We can't always make plans work, but we can take the steps necessary if we want to retire at 60. So let's look at that. What can we do? Like I said, we could do a reverse mortgage. We could sell the house, but let's not act like that's a viable option at this point. The amount needed today to avoid a shortfall for John is $154,000. He needs $154,000 thrown into his portfolio today to make this money last throughout his 90s. Or he needs a rate of return of 8.67%. I don't want to calculate an 8.67% rate of return. That is the market's average 10% since 1950, 8% with inflation. So that means we have to earn more than what the market is earning, which doesn't make me feel comfortable. All right? So what can we do? Well, one thing we can do is we can work a little bit longer, right? So we can say, okay, what if we work till Medicare? So we work till 65. Actually, let's go back. Let's go to the calculator. Let's take Social Security at 65, which would be $2,167. Remember, it gets an increase. Let's retire at 65. So January of 2029. Let's back that up to, let's see, that's 9 months. So when is his date of birth? 4. So let's go 4 of 2028. That puts him at 65. So let's go to 65. Let's go to cash flows here. Let's work part-time, but let's not do it until we retire. So that's going to stay. So what's that? April of 2029. He's retiring in, okay, April of 2028. Oops, let's just adjust the date back once to 2028. Perfect. Now we're doing part-time work. Our expenses, $2,500, $500. There's the $3,000. Okay, so we can see that. There's the $3,000 in expenses, okay? So now we're going to be building up our assets from 60 to 65. I know you're saying, oh, Drew, it's another 5 years. Well, we're just seeing, we're just looking at this. We're just trying to get ideas of what we can do to get to retirement, through retirement, and protect our ability to stay in retirement. Now we go to retirement. Okay, now look at this. We get to 100. And we've got $576,824. Okay, so you're going, oh, he's good, right? He could retire in 5 years. Yes, but do we need $500,000 at 100? He wants to retire. So now we know 65 and 60. So somewhere in between there, we can retire. So let's go. We know at 65 we can. So let's go to retirement and let's just play with it a little bit. I mean, sometimes it's just trial and error. So there's 63. Let's take Social Security when we retire at 63. Okay, so 63, what is that? 4 of 2026. So now we've got to go to his part-time work because he's going to do it. That's going to help him stop working as much as he wants to work. It might not be fun to work part-time, but he's not going to be working 40, 50 hours a week. He owns his own business, so he's working 50, 60 hours a week. So we're going to take it down to part-time. $1,000, there's a 526, go to retirement, and look at this, we've got to 95. And I go, hey John, how do you feel about that? Feel pretty good, right? I feel pretty good about getting to age 95. So, can I retire at 60 with $225,000? Not necessarily. You could, but it'd make a lot more sense to keep working a couple extra years and maybe working part-time. So I hope this video has helped you in your retirement planning. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.